Trojan Family, what's up, man? USCJ here. It's the top of the morning. It's the top of the morning. Listen, I hope everybody is getting ready to get up, get out, and make some things happen this morning. Listen, you guys know I got the sunglasses on today because the future is so bright. Listen, you guys know the season is fast approaching, and you guys know I put just a little clip, a little picture of Carlisle Jones yesterday, and I just kind of talked about him. And as I talked about him, just kind of gave a description of his weight and his size. And you guys see the visual of Carlisle Jones, how he was looking on the field with his team. Listen, he is an absolute monster. I think it actually caught some people off by surprise just to see a guy like that coming in as a freshman. Listen, we hadn't had guys like that in the past. You guys know I talked about this class being a very, very underrated class, the 2024 class that just came in. Cam Fountain, those guys. But Carlisle Jones is right in there with those guys. And we talked about it once he comes in. We kind of felt like he was going to be one of those instant impact players. And lo and behold, he hasn't put the pads on yet. But my God, when you put him up next to some other guys, listen, it is look, I don't think he's coming to sit on the bench. I'll put it to you like that. However, we'll talk about this defensive line real quick, and we'll talk about how I think that they're going to be very, very underrated. So much so that I think that when you look at the size and you compare them, I think who was it? Let me pull up, because when I put that up yesterday, there were multiple people that made comments on it, and they said I think it was a guy by the name of Walter. I think I screenshotted that. Where is he at? No, I didn't screenshot it. But anyway, there were multiple people that yeah, here was one. Walter. Walter said, Walter Clark. Shout out to Walter Clark. He said this when I put that picture up. He said, we have a number of 300 pounders, which a lot of people, they were always making reference to our 300-pound guys. And Walter, you're absolutely right. He said, as Penn State, with their biggest being 317 and two are 308 and 302. Walter, you're absolutely right. And so when you look at this defensive line, multiple guys now, not only is Carlisle Jones, of course, we got Bear Alexander that's going to be a 300-pound guy as well, right? And we got multiple guys. And when you just look at our defensive line, here it is right here. You got Kobe Pepe. He's a 300-pounder. Of course, you got Gavin Meyer. I think he'll probably be around 290. I think he was 285 when he came in from Wyoming. You guys know I talked about how he just had a plate in front of him at all times. But, yeah, Gavin Meyer, he's probably around 295. And then, we can't forget about guys like Elijah Hughes, who I think he's pushing the 290-something right now. And I'm not sure if they're going to use him inside, outside. But I believe that a guy like Elijah Hughes, with his type of skill set and how physical he is and that quick step, I believe that Eric Henderson can use a guy like Elijah Hughes so we can see and expect big things from him. So I'm extremely excited, even about Kobe Pepe. And one of the things that I wanted to really address, I should have brought that clip, was that Eric Henderson, he'd had a clip the other day when he was on a YouTube channel. I think it was one of his former players. But they asked him, they said, what do you want in a player? What do you need in a player? He said, all I want is that dog. And that dog comes from that heart. And he basically explained it. He said, whether it's 3-star, 4-star, whatever. And I think of this team. I always kind of equate it to a team like Utah that has multiple 3-stars, 4-star, well, 3-star players for the most part, but they develop those players. And Eric Henderson said, look, I can bring that out of the players. And it really, I've already knew that. You guys know I've been kind of preaching that the past couple of months, and I will continue to preach that. But I believe that Eric Henderson is going to bring out the best of these guys. I believe that he's going to pull it out of them, even guys that are not so-called 3 stars, 4 stars, or whatever, or 4 stars, 5 stars. I believe that Eric Henderson is going to bring that out. So you guys can hit me in the comment section. And so you talk about Kobe Pepe, you talk about Gavin Myers, you talk about even a guy like Solo. What can Solo do? Solo can bring a lot to the table, and I think it'll be straight up go time with a guy like Solo. And then you guys, another freshman, his name is, I don't want to butcher this name. He's gonna have to forgive me for this, but it's Ratu. I've had a hard time pronouncing his name, but it's Ratu Bulla. I believe that's how you. If I said it wrong, man, forgive me for that. But when you look at even him, he's now I believe around 300 pounds. Very, very. I don't think a lot of people. I think they were thinking him more of a project, but that dude is an absolute monster. He can get in there. He can move and groove. And so you're talking about a lot of guys that are right now. I believe I counted one, two. I think it's 7 guys. Let me count these guys. 1, 2, 3, and Nate Clifton. Did I mention Nate Clifton? But you got about 7 guys that are going to be in the rotation just with the defensive front, the nose tackle to the D tackle. Now, I think Carlon Jones, he's going to absolutely play the nose tackle position. He looks incredible. And so you could put him in. It would not surprise me if you see a guy like Carlon Jones in there with Bear Alexander. Those 2 guys next to each other, that would be incredible. However, you can see Kobe Pepe in there as well, being a nose tackle, 300 some pounds. But I think USC has enough to be able to really rotate these guys around. And then don't forget about the freshman, Jibe Abasari. He's sitting around close to 300 pounds, but he's just a monstrous guy, but he's all muscle. Look, I remember, I took a recruiting trip, University of Washington, and I remember going in the locker room. The only other person I can remember that was kind of similar to a guy like Jibe Abasari was this guy I'm about to tell you. But anyway, you know how they used to take recruits. You go on the field after the game or whatever, and then you go in the locker room. And I remember going in the locker room at the University of Washington, and I remember seeing this big old guy. He had muscles. He was an offensive lineman, and he had a 6-pack. His name was Bob Sapp. And when I saw how big he was, when I saw how he had a 6-pack, Bob Sapp played offensive lineman. He played for the University of Washington, and he also played in the league. And I believe he did some MMA stuff. But Jibe Abasari reminds me of a guy like, even though they play opposite sides of the ball, Jibe Abasari actually reminds me of a guy like Bob Sapp, just being so physically gifted and so lean and still able to have that 6-pack, but still weigh close to 300 pounds. That is just actually absolute phenomenal size for a guy like Jibe Abasari. So I think this defensive line, when we talk about evaluating this defensive line, I think all these guys from a defensive front standpoint are going to do some phenomenal things. And I believe the coaching staff is going to add so much value to these guys. Now, that's just the defensive front, the nose tackle, the D tackle guys. Now, when we look at the edge guys, multiple guys are sitting there right now, whether it's Sam Green, David Peavy, Lorenzo Cowan, freshman that came in, Jamil Muhammad, Braylon Shelby. You got guys like Devin Tompkins. So you got multiple guys that are sitting there ready to move and groove at that position, the edge position. Did I mention Anthony Lucas? We got some dudes right now sitting ready to play the edge. And by the way, I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, they said it's not going to be called edge position anymore. I think it's going to be 2 defensive ends, if I'm not mistaken. So, look, USC has something to work with, man. For those who are concerned, those who are worried, I think it's going to be straight up go time as it relates to those guys as well, man. So you guys can drop those comments. How do you guys feeling about USC defensive linemen? I think it's going to be straight up go time. I got a couple of things that I want to touch on real quick that I should have touched on this at the beginning, but I got so excited. You guys know I hadn't been here. I hadn't did a video for 4 or 5 days. That clip that you guys seen yesterday was just a clip that I took from a video immediately following the Louisville game, the Holiday Bowl. I just took maybe 6 minutes of that clip and just kind of presented it yesterday as a brief showing. But some people were saying, Jay, is this an old video? Yeah, that was a clip from an hour-long live video after the game that I wanted to show you guys. And so I hadn't been. This is my first time probably not doing video every day for a while. So that was it was a nice little break, I guess you could say. 4 days that I hadn't did anything since Sunday. So look, man, you guys can hit me in the comments. You guys tell me what you think about that. Now, I should have touched on this early, but this is Monty Kiffin, Lane Kiffin's father. He passed away, and like I said, I should have did this first, but I was sad to hear that, man. Lane Kiffin's father. I saw where Lane Kiffin posted that on his on his Twitter last night. And my thoughts and my prayers are with the Kiffin family. You guys know that Kiffin, his father is a absolute legend of a guy. Was very responsible for that for the defense of that 1999 Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. That defense was just crazy. Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Rondé Barber. You had, who else did you have? John Lynch. I mean, it went on and on and on. That was one of the most nastiest defense, but he was said to be the architect of that defense, the one that really led the way as it relates to that. And so you're talking about a guy that all the family, all friends are gonna, they're gonna mourn the death of him. But our thoughts and prayers are with the iconic Monty Kiffin. Now, before I get out of here, there's one more thing. I saw something. You guys know I bring different things to you when I'm doing these shows. But there was a win percentage from all colleges, all time, and I want to know what you guys think about it because USC is they're still in the mix as far as even though. And you happen to not see one team with the O here, but even though USC hasn't been, I guess, winning more games to our standards, of course, and to USC standards, they still are able to be at the top. Now, this is actual win percentage. This is not USCJ's win percentage. This is actual win percentage is on three presented this. But if you look at it, Ohio State is going to be one with 0.734. Michigan 2.734. Number three is Alabama 0.733, and then you're going to have Notre Dame 0.730 at number 4. Number 5, Oklahoma 0.725. Then you're going to have Boise State. Boise State did win a lot of games, but they're 0.725. Texas is 0.702, and then USC comes in at number 8 at 0.695. Then you're going to have 0.689 for Penn State. Nebraska this is winning percentage all time, highest winning percentage all time. Then you're going to have Nebraska 0.678, and then you're going to have 0.672 Tennessee. Florida State number 12, 0.671. I don't even know why they got this number on here, but they should have just added a number. But I'm not even going to say that number. Georgia, 0.667. I'm going to add a 7 on to the end. You see what that number is. And then LSU, 0.654. And then Coastal Carolina, 0.651. So the highest winning percentage all time. USC still in the mix. You see another program, they're not on that. Look, man, you guys can drop those comments. You guys can tell me what you think. Also, the big time defensive end, Jared Smith. You guys know he's out of the state of Alabama. He did announce that he has his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has Florida State. He has South Carolina, Georgia, Ole Miss, Auburn, and USC. And he will announce his commitment on August 3rd. That's a big time guy at USC. I would love to get him. I mean, he's ranked high up there, man. So he's going to announce that August 3rd. And so we should know something in a couple of weeks where that stands at right now with a guy like Jared Smith, man. So look, I'm out of here. It's good to be back after 4 days. And look, man, hey, look, I think, this is time consuming doing this. And so I do this along with working a full-time job. And to me, man, I'm telling you, it gets very time consuming. So look, I may be hitting it maybe 3, maybe 4 times, maybe 3 or 4 times a week instead of 7 days a week like I was hitting it. I would just sometimes, man, I'm the type of person that when I get tunnel vision and I start doing something and I'm locked in, I just don't know how to stop. And so I'm gonna have to stop myself and maybe cut it down to maybe 3 or 4 times a week. You guys can hit me in the comment section. You guys can tell me what you think. Oh, that live session I did the other day when I had some fans on, I'm going to be doing that on a regular. I'm going to be doing it immediately following the games. I want to hear from you fans. I want to see the faces that I don't know the faces. I see all these names, but you guys see me, but I don't know who you guys are from a face standpoint. I know you guys in the names. Hundreds of comments always coming through, but I'm gonna be doing that. You guys help me come up with a name. I'm gonna call it fan faces or faces of the fans, and it's gonna be a segment, but I'm gonna do it once a week. That way, it gives you guys opportunity to voice your opinion until I get my call line working. I know I can get this working right now. It's too much stuff that you got to do with all this board, but I got another way that I may do it. But I know I can get you guys in here. And so when I do a segment like that, I may end up doing 3 people at a time. And so we'll just rotate it out, different people, man. You guys have opportunity to come on, voice your opinion. You guys have to be tapped in with me on Instagram and or Twitter. That way, I won't send the link in the chat. I will only send it on Instagram and Twitter because everybody can have access to that link, and I don't want that. So, look, man, I'm out of here. Happy Friday to everybody. God bless everybody. Until later on, everybody stay blessed. Fight on, fight on, fight on.